class. This is an essay from, it's the second essay, in fact, from the Italian student whose essay we looked at yesterday. And I think you might see that this one's almost as good as the one yesterday, but in my opinion, slightly, not quite as good, mainly because of a few misunderstandings with some of the vocabulary. So let's have a look at it. I can quickly show you the question which he's answering, which is here. So a popular English language magazine has invited readers to send in letters sharing their recent experience of making an important decision. Now, it is a recent experience, that's worth bearing in mind. You decide to send in a letter in which you briefly describe the situation and explain the reasons why you took an important decision and assess what the consequences of that decision might be in the future. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, dear editor, I read in your magazine about an invite to share an experience of making an important decision. Okay, so I've changed a few things here. It is read in a magazine or read in a newspaper. About, and here we're introducing something into a reader's imagination for the first time, or we're introducing this idea of an invite. I suppose the editor will know about it. I don't know about so you could use you can use for that reason. I read in your magazine about the invite to share. In fact, I'm going to take away that. That's not right. Sorry about that, guys. But now I look at it again. I'm going to change that. Hold on. Need to just do a few things. Boom. And then we'll put it back on. So yeah, you can say that. Oh yeah, because the editor's fully aware of it. I read in your magazine about the invite to share an experience of making an important decision. And I'm sending this letter to you because I want to describe my choice of studying the English language, giving the reasons why I made this decision and showing my hopes for the future. So I changed the to my. I just thought it was more natural to make it more personal. My choice. It was my decision, and I made the choice to study the English language. And I do recommend sharing my hopes rather than showing my hopes, which sounded a little bit odd to me. You share your hopes with somebody. You don't show your hopes. But yeah, you can certainly sharing my hopes for the future. Okay, and there's one more thing I wanted to mention. The English language here is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But there is repetition of these three words, the English language, at least 8 or 9 times in this essay. And it starts to sound a little odd. It starts to sound a little unnatural. Just because it's very unlikely that any native would keep saying the English language, when it's down here as well. I'm looking for it and talking at the same time. It's hard. The English language. So you can see that it's used so many times. I don't actually recommend that you do this because, okay, we could have it once at the start, but then we could say, I started studying English last year. And we could do it every single time with all the other ones. Yeah, he suggested that I should start learning English. And yeah, knowing English properly. All the other times studied English at secondary school. It would sound more natural if you just use English and not the English language. So that's one thing worth bearing in mind. So I started studying English last year after talking with a friend of mine. Yeah, and this is fine. I think it's accepted nowadays in British English, but I would like to point out that in British English, we usually say speak to and talk to. In American English, they usually say speak with and talk with. I suppose there'll probably be some areas of the UK that use that preposition as well more often. And I do hear a lot of natives here use it too sometimes. So he was living in London, and he told me how important it was to know the English language properly. This is how this one needs to be put. We can't say how important was knowing, how important knowing the English language was. It would have to be like that, how important knowing the English language was. You could use a gerund like that, yeah, how important knowing the English language was, but we need a different word order. But we could also use how important it was to know the English language properly. It's up to you. There are quite often many ways to rewrite the sentence. So he worked in a tech company, and he said that sometimes it was difficult for him to communicate with his. Yeah, careful with pronouns, guys. We've seen this a few times, that you've got to be careful with your pronouns in these essays. I'm sure when you reread these essays, some of these mistakes will stand out. So keep an eye out for them when you reread your essay at the end. Check the pronouns, because here clearly we're saying he and he, and so it's his colleagues, surely. Or to interact, it was difficult for him to communicate, or to interact. See that nice parallel structure? Excellent, well done. With the clients, yeah, the clients, because I think we're talking about his work in the tech company with the clients, and that's why I think the sounds okay. But then again, can we just take it out with his colleagues, or to okay, this is why I've done it, because you've got a pronoun here, which is a determiner. And so I don't want to say that this one has to be there. It doesn't with his colleagues or interact with clients. It doesn't. But it sounds quite nice for it to be there, partly because of the parallel structure. Yeah, his colleagues or interact with the clients, communicate with his colleagues, interact with the clients. Can you hear the balance? And so I agree that it doesn't have to be there. I do agree that it doesn't have to be there. But I think it sounds good if it is there. And it's because of the parallel structure. Okay, he suggested that I should start learning English because in the future I would need this vital skill. I was persuaded by the points made by my friend, so soon after I started taking lessons with an English teacher and doing a lot of exercises. Please remember, it's always doing for schoolwork, exams, tests, anything which is your duty or your responsibility, you do. Okay, so do a lot of exercises. Yeah, I think that's spelled right. It was difficult at first. Okay, so we've got to say it was. Hold on a second. Yeah, so it was difficult at first and not the first time. It was difficult for the first time, maybe. It was difficult during the first lesson, or it was difficult in the first lesson. But it was difficult at first, since I had not studied the English language. I had not studied English at secondary school. However, and look, he's using a conjunctive adverb nicely with a semicolon and a comma. I like it. However, I managed to learn by heart all the irregular forms and phrasal verbs, and I became more and more interested in English grammar. Okay, so you have written this. This is good. You have written it as it were a fairly recent decision, because you said I started studying English last year. So yeah, I suppose that's fairly recent. You'll get away with that. So several months of study have passed, yeah, and not have been passed. We say several months have passed, or 3 weeks passed. Yeah, we don't say were passed, we just say passed. So several months of study have passed, and I have reached an advanced level. Now I am preparing for a high-level exam in order to gain an important English language certificate or certification. Actually, no, I don't like a certification. And so we'd need to take out an if it's like that, or just change this to certificate, an important English language certificate. You could say qualification as well. Since I have set my mind on good, becoming an English teacher in my country, Italy, good. Excellent A positive there as well. I do like A positives. I think that a large number of Italians are not well prepared in the English language, and I want to help them to improve their skills rather than their, it sounds strange to me, improve your level. Can I improve, my upper intermediate level? No, we would say maybe raise your level, or make you go up a level, yeah, but improve your skills. Hone your skills is another good one. Sharpen your skills is another good one. The methods of teaching the English are very outdated. Teachers tend to focus only on grammar and not on speaking, helping the students immerse themselves in English culture, listening to podcasts about British politics, or watching British movies. Now, I was trying to be careful with parallel structure here. I liked the only on X and not on Y. And so we've got a noun here, and we need nouns over here. So we're going to use gerunds. And we don't say exercising the speaking. We don't. It didn't sound natural at all. Exercising your speaking skills, maybe. But even that sounds a little bit wordy to me when we just say, and not on speaking. Helping the students immerse themselves in English culture. You could just say immersing students in English culture. It would perhaps be shorter and sweeter. So on speaking, immersing the students in English culture. Okay, no, maybe not immersing. Then the teachers tend to focus on grammar and not on speaking. Immersing works, yeah. Immersing the students in English culture, listening to podcasts about British politics or watching British movies. I hope that this dream will become reality. And I think that the ending there, as long as that last part is cleaned up a little bit, then it sounds great. It's just some problems with the language. We don't say exercising the speaking, and we don't say helping students to steep in English culture. You can say that that a town or city is steeped in a certain culture or history, but that's not for people. We don't say that a person is steeped in culture. We don't say that. So that's something to be aware of. Okay, so I hope all of those corrections are clear. I gave the marks slightly lower than before. I can't remember which aspect was slightly lower than before, but really I don't find it easy to separate things into 4 different categories, arbitrary categories. And so if I'm honest, I try to look at the essay as a whole, and of course I look at it how well it's answered the question and how many mistakes they've made and how powerfully the argument's been made. And so yeah, I'm not sure it's so easy to separate into 4 different categories any of these essays. I think it's actually rather difficult to do so. So hello, everybody. I've been nattering away there, and we're going to stop this essay any second now, and then we're going to start another essay. I've got 2 more essays that I'd like to talk about, and the following essays will be from a Brazilian student. This one's from an Italian student. But hello, David, Eunice, Ahmed, Arnavi, Romelia, Mary, and Otto. Hi, Otto. How are you doing? So yeah, they're all the mistakes that I've spotted. I might have missed 1 or 2. I hope not, and I hope I haven't changed anything that people out there think is fine. But if you've got any comments, guys, now's the time to make them on this essay. If you've got any questions, so if you have any questions at all about any of these mistakes, do ask. Otherwise, I'll be stopping this class, but I'll be starting immediately, so do hang around. And I'll be starting with a different essay. The next 2 essays are on sci-fi and homeschooling. So they'll be the next 2 topics. Okay, so we're going to stop this here, and I'll start in about 1 minute.